have to do is flood the board. So
Okay, so we're into the game here, and in fact, darksub is on the bottom, and RDU is on the top. So you can see darksub starting on the zoo, and there is the card that I was waiting to see in this zoo deck. So this is not your typical zoo deck. In fact, you see a piloted shredder coming in as well. So
okay.
this deck has death rattle all the way through it, even up to the top range. And Baron Rivendare. Noxious, have you ever seen a Baron Rivendare in a tournament?
I saw it and it goes so far back. I don't even like the last time I actually saw it in a zoo deck goes back to the days of early Naxxramas releases where people were of the absolute stickiest possible zoo deck. Like they were trying to make it as boring as we could, and that incurred the addition of Baron Rivendare in their decks. But now I think with some of the GVG cards that were added, also with more death rattles, think Pilot the deck maybe with Baron Rivendare gets maybe better. Does it justify it even further?
It's interesting. So he's going with the haunted creeper there over the Nerubian egg. You know, if it were me, perhaps I'd be tempted to do the Nerubian egg and even coin out the Rivendare as an early challenge to the Paladin.
Yeah,
But
because I could see that. The thing is, oh wow, there is no muster for battle off a coin.
that's yeah, coined out. No, sorry, the turn three big game hunter for RDU coming down, and that's I mean that's probably going to die straight away. You could
Yeah.
even see the abusive sergeant used maybe to kill that with the to pop the spiders or and keep the flame imp alive.
Alternatively, egg or the Piloted Shredder is not a bad play because either way you could then follow up with Baron Rivendare. Like if he plays the egg now, his turn 5 could be Baron Rivendare coin Power Overwhelming, or he
Yeah.
drops a Shredder, in which case Baron Rivendare is still amazing value as a follow up.
Sure. So he's
So
going to go ahead and trade away the board of the paladin, start doing in that spider damage. You got to watch for it.
yeah, I'm actually surprised he went for the Shredder. I don't know why I'm that surprised about it because it's not likely to die in the immediate sense. So maybe he wants to develop, and if it dies, you won't get Baron Rivendare value because it
You were
died to
saying
Trucifer.
noxious. It's
No,
going to
but like
die
what I
straight
meant is
away.
it's not going to trade into anything, and if it dies, it's going to deny you the value of the Baron Rivendare.
Sure. That's a blood mage Thanos.
All right, so apparently they had to leave the game to talk to RDU. He apparently disabled his spectator mode or some such thing, which means we couldn't see his hand, and thus couldn't commentate on it. But yeah, like I was talking about the Shredder play there. Playing it meant that you were vulnerable to Trucifer Champion, regardless of what was going to happen, and I think that's a little bit problematic to just throw it out there
For sure.
as
We're back in
is.
the game here. And
Yep.
in fact, you got the Lotheb comes down, which is very lucky for RDU probably because he was staring down a very spell power implosion turn. But there is a Direwolf Alpha there that you could use, maybe even to pop this egg. It doesn't quite have the mana to pop the egg with the Baron Rivendare. I guess he's probably gonna go ahead and try and keep the popping the egg for when the Baron Rivendare comes down.
Yeah, this will be the ideal play because right now, even though he would have loved to play Baron Rivendare with Power Overwhelming, Lothep prevents that from happening. Um, and I mean, I like his next turn, Knife Juggler Implosion or Ben Rivendare Shenanigans. I don't know that I would play Abusive Sergeant here. I mean, trading into Lothep opens you to Consecration, maybe a bit more than you'd feel comfortable with.
It also trades away two of your death rattles if you're looking at Baron Rivendare in the next couple of turns.
Exactly. There's a lot of value being lost here, I feel, if that were the case. So he has to either trade his current board and hope for better death rattles down the line.
There's something he has to be aware of is the haunted creepers. If they go off twice, he won't be able to get. Okay, so he has popped the haunted creeper, but it's something he has to be aware of. Obviously, particularly in a very death rattle heavy deck like this, is the sequencing. So the haunted creeper would have popped before the Nerubian egg and denied the second Nerubian if Baron Rivendare had been down.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to get a second one because of the Hunt Keeper as well. That won't be a problem. Apparently, everything is just dead. Um, wow, that's a little bit unfortunate for him.
Definitely, but it does open him for a potential knife juggler implosion play to refill his board. Do you think that's the optimal play at this point?
It's not a bad play, but you're still scared. I mean, you're not scared of the second consecration. The odds of it being the case are fairly slim, but you might be worried about something like a Wild Pyromancer, which we see in the Paladin hand at the moment. I don't know that there's any particularly amazing play here coming from uh, the Warlock player. I guess Baron Rivendare is as good as it gets. It gets you a big body that kills dudes, and
That
it's
is
not
certainly
vulnerable to much outside of like a Stampede and Kodo, which is
that,
not played much anymore.
exactly what I was going to say. It's certainly one card that isn't vulnerable to the Wild Pyromancer.
Hmm.
And you got to think that RDU is probably going to have to use an equality to get through that at this point.
Yeah, and the Knife Juggler Implosion play is looking absolutely amazing here. I don't know if I would, not give myself the pleasure of wiping this board through the Knife Juggler. I couldn't resist it personally. I don't know if he
No,
will.
there's nothing more beautiful.
Yeah, this is an amazing turn.
It's in fact he's
Oh,
going to use the power overwhelming. That's interesting that he's using the power overwhelming to get through this engine, not saving that for an egg
no,
or
he'll be
even a
using it with
bigger
a Void
threat.
Terror actually. This makes a lot of sense. You not yeah, you don't even have to Knife Juggler. You can just Void Terror and get yourself that extra bit of value without having to commit.
Definitely. And if an egg does come out, he does have the abusive sergeant that's just coming to
Yeah.
hand, so he does
And
still
two
have an
spare
egg activator.
parts.
Yep, two spare parts coming off the Clockwork Gnome.
I wonder what RDU's face is like what was it at the side of the Baron Riven there? Oh god.
Five Void Terror and a Baron Riven there on board. This
Yeah.
is not a position you expect pro. Lay on hands, that's not a turn 8 play.
Quality Wild Pyromancer will deal with further boards, and at the moment, all he has to do is just Aldor Peacekeeper and let it sit until the board is filled up enough where I guess it's finally viable to wipe the board. Let him develop a bit more of his minions so that you're happy to Wild Pyromancer. Because at the moment, that's not the most interesting board to clear.
Indeed, and as the Doom Guard comes into hand, Wild Pyromancer quality, a great way to deal with that Doom Guard. He's maybe thinking a couple of turns ahead, as you say, trying to build up as good a board for that equality Pyromancer as possible. Looks like it's going to be a Knife Juggler implosion here.
No surprise. Who would have thought? I mean, I never see that card being played.
Full damage.
Oh yeah.
So there's
Ah,
going to be four. Are they all going to go to face and miss the one?
there's no way. All
No,
right,
there
there it
we go.
is. So this is a really weird position for the paladin player because he does need to wipe this board, obviously, but doing so means that he doesn't have a second array of board wipes for the time being. So he's probably going to have to hold off. Because those
Yes.
imps are just consecratable. Like, you don't necessarily have to commit the Wild Pyromancer equality to a board that already has an infinity of 1 health minions.
Sure. He does go for the lay on hands to keep himself a nice high health. Undertaker coming into hand, that's not going to be super useful here. Do you just go all for face here and life tap and
Oh,
pass, or even not
I
even
believe
life tap?
so. Yeah, you don't even have to life tap, but I mean, because the opponent is going to be down at this point. And he's already used like the biggest chunk of healing that he's got. Unless he's playing one of those unusual double lay on hands decks, or also is running antique heal bots, which is not that unusual, then you can just sit on 16 health and wait it out.
You got to be thinking, of course, as a Warlock player, that you want to try and clear out your hand for Doomguard as well, so you don't want to life tap into any really crucial cards. He is going to go for the Wild Pyromancer equality play and put down a Sky Golem as well.
Yeah, this is a big threat. It's something that a lot of people don't necessarily realize, but that 6 attack is massive.
And the True Silver Champion there's a little graphical glitch, so we couldn't see that, but
Yep.
there was a True Silver Champion there as well. So the Zoo down to 12 health here. Not the greatest position. He may well have to Doomguard to kill this 6-4. Though he could go for double Dark Bomb.
Could you justify like just Dark Bomb implosioning it? Ever?
I think you have to be very, very careful about what's going to pop out of it as well. Are you thinking maybe, if you double Dark Bomb to kill the pilot Sky Golem, you can then use the Implosion or the Doomguard as a follow-up to kill what pops out?
This is an awkward position because playing Doomguard first is obviously not something you're very tempted to do, but
Sure. I think you've...
killing the paladin in this circumstance, actually, like, the thing is, killing the paladin is doable. Killing him before he kills you, when you're on 12 health, facing down a 6 attack minion, that's a little trickier. And it's funny how Paladin Sky Golem has just taken over the spot that Karen used to hold in most decks, just because that 6 attack allows it to trade up very, very effectively in most circumstances, where Karen just gives you 2 Yetis.
Indeed, I guess it says something. He is going to go for the double Dark Bomb here.
For the face. He has to commit. He can't kill the opponent.
He's going all in. He's going for Doomguard. It looks like the Abusive Sergeant stays alive, so he's going to get even more damage.
And now the Paladin might be the one who's forced on the defensive, is he?
For sure.
No, he's not. Change of plans.
Consecrate comes out.
Equality Consecration. Doomguard top deck could seal the game, though.
Indeed, it's going to be they're going to have to pray. And there's both implosions are gone, both dark bombs are gone. It's only one single Doom Guard in the deck that was going to be able to get him out of this.
It's not impossible, but to be the new Miracle Rogue, right? They'll just pull off cards that they need at the last second.
That's not
That
the
is
card he
not it.
needs.
Bluegill
That's
Warrior, go. Ah, Flame Imp.
Nope. And that is going to be it for darksub. He's going to go ahead and concede, and that's going to take RDU to 1-0 up, and he's going to have to fall back on his Shaman deck. So we did see a little bit of Baron Rivendare there with the Clockwork Noble. We didn't see any any crazy Baron Rivendare
Yeah,
shenanigans.
I was expecting him. I was truly expecting him to play down the just the egg immediately as opposed to the 4/3 because I feel like if you just delay the Baron Rivendare instead of rushing out or forcing a rush of the True Silver champion, because by playing the Shredder, you force the opponent to True Silver right away, which is not necessarily the case when you play it a bit slower. In which case, he could have gone for the surprise double pop, where he plays Baron Rivendare into Power of Whelming immediately, and that forces the opponent to have to deal with 2/4/4s as follow-ups. But I think either way, Paladin's hand was still strong enough to deal with anything with the equality, Wild Pyromancer. He had answers regardless of what would have come out, I feel.
Indeed, as you can see now from our band screen, Thrall is a little bit outnumbered now. It's two on one here in this tag team matchup. Things not going so well. And in fact, to bring some other results as well, one other result in, Faramir has won his first game 2-0 already. So he's in pole position in his group to go through. And in fact, he's going to be playing his teammate Im while we are seeing the Modern Leopard D2 game going on. But the Shaman here against the Paladin, it's not often we see Shaman in this lineup, in this kind of scenario at this point. It's kind of probably one of the least favorite classes, probably Shaman and Priest at this point are the least popular.
A lot of people have, a lot of people would tend to agree that those two classes are being at least underrepresented, if not generally less powerful than other ones. But that's still, it depends on the meta shifts, right? Different metagame shifts will allow for specific classes to rise up. But this specific matchup, Paladin against Shaman, can come down to consecrations, essentially. You have to try to force them to use a removal in between the Muster for Battle tool that they got and the Shielded mini-boss. Their early game has been drastically improved.
And we can see the Power Mace and the Annoyantron. They are two of those tools that the Shaman has been given.
Yep, and it's a very nice one at the moment because the hand of the Paladin is not that stellar against specific circumstances like these. Kel'Thuzad in the Paladin deck, that is nice.
Kel'Thuzad enjoying a resurgence at the moment.
Yep, big game hunter proof. All right, the Annoyantron will come out. I do like the hand here from darksub because he has a second Annoyantron in case the first one dies before the Power Mace can go off. Oh, this is a perfect tempo play here for darksub.
Absolutely. RDU coins out the Acolyte of Pain instead of the Muster for Battle. And that's going to be a problem for him with the Power Mace, because that is going to take that Acolyte of Pain out straight away. Yep. And the Annoyantron's going to do its damage.
And it's going to keep its shield for the time being. So at the moment, the Iron Beak Owl could seal this. But he's going to have to wait until the Power Mace, of course, dies off.
Absolutely. Muster for Battle coming in there.
Yeah, RDU's hand is actually very well equipped to deal with the current board state that could be coming up in the near future. The True Silver champion will happily replace the Light's Justice if necessary in case the Annoyantron gets buffed.
Definitely. Dr. Boom coming into the hand, showing a bit of the Shaman's top end of the deck. But apart from the Flame Tongue Totem, the Annoyantron, there's not really much in the way of plays here for darksub on the Shaman.
No, exactly. Everything is a little weak, and he knows it. He's very aware of the weaknesses of the current state. And as I said, Muster for Battle giving Paladins the early game tool that they really need, especially against something like a Shaman that is trying to overwhelm you before you overwhelm them. The 1/1s are usually start getting 3 of them at a time. It makes a huge difference.
And he obviously decided to split the buffs among the mechs there, giving the buff to the one without the Annoyantron without the shield while playing the second one. Just in case RDU does have an owl, to make him have to make a decision there whether he wants to take off the shield or silence the one with the buff.
Oh, you need to kill the 3/4 right away, and if the other one gets buffed, then you can just silence that. I mean, owls might... If the shield hadn't taken off of the first Annoyantron, this might have been a slightly different turn, but at the moment it's still very much fine for darksub and RDU.
Still no real threats coming to the hand for darksub here, and it looks like RDU is going to be able to stop board here and take over.
Well, do you play Flame Tongue Totem here with a totem and just kill the 1/1 with your healing? I feel like that might just be the safest play.
It looks like that's what he's going to go for.
Yeah, Consecration is not even a big deal. He has to use his weapon charge on the Yonoyotron, then Consecrate, and that would leave your Flame Tongue alive. So really, Iron Beak Owl is the only way that this threat will get negated in the immediate sense.
Sure, and you got to assume he's going to kill off the Flame Tongue Totem here. But
Yeah.
Darksub's starting to build up a board in the way that Shamans do with the totems and start to look like he's got a lot on board, but and really try and tempt the Paladin into using those board clears early.
Yeah, but the Paladin, being RDU, knows better than to do this. He knows when he has to use that. And at the moment, it's interesting to know that last turn, instead of playing Muster for Battle immediately, he obviously decided to go for the safer play, just 1/1, because if Lightning Storm hits and you just played Muster for Battle and you didn't get to attack with the weapon, you're missing out on quite a bit of value.
It's interesting the Wild Pyromancers are making a bit of a reappearance in the Paladin decks that we've seen today and yesterday, when in many of these Paladin decks since GVG we've seen that maybe teched out. What do you think about the inclusion of just to give that extra board clear?
I think Ram Druid might be to blame in a way for stuff like this, because it's actually like you can deal with Handlock and Ram Druid.
Rockbiter on the Defender of Argus, and that's what he's going to go ahead and do. Pretty good use of that card, though, particularly as he does have the 2 in hand, so it's not as if he's using something up that he doesn't have.
Yep. And it's very nice here because he's got a board presence that is threatening, yet doesn't really give the Paladin any value if he clears it.
There's no big game Hunter in the hand for RDU, so if this Dr. Boom comes down, is that just a straight Wild Pyromancer equality?
I think it might be at that point. Or I guess you could consider Aldo Peacekeeping, but then what if he Earth Shocks his own Boom and goes for your face? You know, things like this are known to happen.
Definitely. A good mid-range minion does come into the hand for Darksub and the Pilot Shredder, so he throws that straight and completes his set of totems.
Wow, interestingly enough, Dr. Boom is going to be kept for the time where Lethal might be insured through it. That's what it's starting to feel like to me.
It does. I mean, I think if you're playing Dr. Boom in a deck like this where there aren't many big game hunter targets, you've got to be aware of the number of big game hunters in the meta right now.
Yeah, definitely. And now there's nothing you want to use Trustworthy Champion on either. Oh, that Neptulon. That is going to be an insane draw.
Speaking of 7/7s.
This is a crazy card because not only does it force a response, but even if he does respond, you then get to force him to use another board clear. Oh, wow.
A couple of interesting Murlocs there, actually.
A pretty nice combination of them. The Siltfin is one of the better ones because it allows you to cycle your Murlocs, and the Collateral will give him the card draw that Shaman is well known for lacking.
And here comes the Wild Pyromancer equality.
Wait, could he mill his opponent? No. Oh, Lightwell. Oh no. What is this?
Lightwell is such a pain to deal with.
Yeah, it's so annoying, but at the same time, it's a pretty low impact card, but you can't help but hate the thing, because you have to actually go out of your way to kill it.
Yeah, you have to deal with it, but it's no threat whatsoever.
But it feels like such a waste of 5 damage.
It's actually a great position for Darksub if he wants to play the Dr. Boom this turn, because he is overloaded for 3, but he has exactly the amount of mana he needs if he decides to play that Dr. Boom. But he does get a Sludge Belcher into hand as well. What do you see as the play here?
I feel like Dr. Boom might have a good turn to be played here. Playing Murlocs doesn't feel optimal unless you go for the Tidecaller into Collateral into Cold Light Seer. But he's setting up the all the Murlocs in one turn. Next turn, turn 10, he's got enough to play Collateral, Siltfin, and the Seer. That is a lot of Murlocs in one turn.
It's a lot of cards as well.
Yeah. Will we see Kel'Thuzad come out here? Or will we see the Muster, Quartermaster, Sen'jin? What is this going to be?
Sen'jin and the Sky Golem coming out for RDU. So he's actually starting to build up a threatening board here.
Yeah, but those Murlocs are going to be frustrating.
Definitely.
Actually, Kel'Thuzad is going to be an amazing value card here.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna get crazy. I'm just trying to think if the only way you can get through this Sen'jin with the Tidecaller, it's actually going to be 1 damage short, I believe, of being able to kill the Sen'jin.
Interestingly, he played only the Seer.
Yeah, he's not playing the Siltfin. I guess he's probably a little bit aware of getting too much card draw from the Siltfin and the Cold Light Oracle. He does go ahead and use that second Rockbiter weapon, which is always a very important of the Shaman.
Yeah, you end up bursting people down with it more often than not. All right, he hexes the Paladin Skygolem, which is a great play. He must be expecting the Kel'Thuz's odds to fall down at this point because as you said, it has seen a resurgence, and as a result, you have to expect it. And when you see Paladin Skygolem being dropped this late in the, you don't want to give your opponent the ability to get more value out of it than he would get normally. And here comes the Kel'Thuz's odd.
There is the Kel'Thuz's odd, as you said, and it's only going to revive the shielded mini-bot.
So do you Cold Light Oracle and hope that you draw your second hex here?
Well, you do get a Lightning Storm.
What value are you getting? I mean, it hits for 3 to 4 at the moment.
It's not a great play.
Yeah, everything comes back to life. There's very little point to it.
I guess you gotta hope for the Cold Light Oracle to bring you something.
Yeah, Earth Shock or
he's not
Hex.
going for the Siltfin. He does get the Hex.
All right, well that's going to help, and the Earth Shock. Wow, that is a big deal.
And with the Spell Power token, you can actually use the Earth Shock to kill the shielded mini-bot if you want to.
Lightning Storm does everything. Everything works right now. He can do everything he wants.
Yeah, you could take the shield off with the Murloc and use the Lightning Storm.
I mean, Earth Shock will kill the mini-bot, and then he can kill a single frog. I don't think there's any reason to Storm just yet.
Sure.
The Siltfin Spirit Walker. I never thought I'd see that being played competitively, but hey. Welcome to GVG, ladies and gentlemen. Where things that make sense don't make sense.
Absolutely. And once again, building up his board of totems, the Taunt Totem going to be very frustrating for what is a very weak board. In fact, that Lightwell is like a super healing totem.
Yeah, at the moment, this thing is better. Like, a Vitality Totem has absolutely nothing on this dude. It's incredible. And RDU being very reactive again. Nothing proactive happening here. He's forced into a position of just waiting it out. And that's not something... Like, against Shaman, he hasn't seen his consecrations yet. So he knows that they're going to be coming eventually.
It's interesting. And that's really frustrating, obviously, because that gets healed straight away.
Yeah, but Lightning Storm is feeling pretty good right now. I feel like this is not the worst Lightning Storm board you're going to find, unless you want to wait for the Muster for Battle Quartermaster, which is the only other time where that might be relevant. And the Siltfin now could give you 2 card draws if you have to use your Murlocs on that Sludge.
Sure.
Yep.
You were able to guarantee that you could kill the Sludge Boucher with one Murloc thanks to the Spell Power Totem. Siltfin. It's going to be the MVP in this matchup, I feel.
I can't believe we're saying this, but it might just be.
The combination of Murlocs and Lightwell is putting darksub in a really great position here.
It's awkward, but yes. I mean, it feels like Murloc Priest should be a thing after this, but they don't have access to the Siltfin. And that 2/5 Murloc is just so annoying. It's got just enough health to be frustrating to deal with. Oh, down comes the Muster for Battle Quartermaster turn, where finally RDU is going to capitalize on the fact that he has seen a single Lightning Storm being played, and is going to hope that his opponent doesn't have a second one in hand in the immediate sense. And that might just be the right way to do it. Because quite frankly, a lot of Shamans decided to run only one Storm nowadays.
Absolutely. It does have the Haunted Creepers and the Harvest Golems to refill his board, but do you think this is probably a Sludge Belcher turn, or what are you looking at here?
I don't know. I feel like all plays are equally weird. It's because you haven't seen much removal coming from the Paladin. I mean, he had to use 1 Equality and Wild Power Mancer to use on your Neptulon turn earlier, but you haven't seen any Consecration, so overextending might feel like a very weak play, and I wouldn't blame him for trying to avoid that.
It looks like he's just going to go for the Sludge Belcher here.
I feel like Sludge Belcher Totem might also just be better than overextending with the Haunted Creeper into a potential... Wow. He's actually not attacking any 3/3s. He's waiting on that Lightning Storm number 2 if he has it.
And if the second Quartermaster were to come out now, that would be horrible.
Follow the rule.
Yeah, roll the 5/5s.
Thankfully for darksub, RDU doesn't have that in hand.
Yeah.
Because it uses the Aldor on the Sludge Belcher there.
This is a play I do like. I personally like it. It's one of those things where a lot of people avoid playing Aldor Peacekeepers as tempo plays, but sometimes it is the right way to do it. And yeah, this is very good. So the RDU knows that his opponent does not have a Lightning Storm, since he obviously did not play it on the previous turn. So
Sure.
he either has to top deck it, or simply is going to get overrun.
Or there isn't one in the deck.
Yeah, that's it. Like, he either has the second one and he doesn't, like, he hasn't drawn it yet, or he has to top deck. Like, worst case scenario, it comes down to a top deck.
Even though RDU is down at nearly half health, it feels like this game is shifting the momentum towards RDU. And darksub, that light well not looking so useful right now. He's going to go ahead and Dr. Boom.
Yeah, but there's a big game hunter now in RDU's hand, and that is, unfortunately, not what you want to see.
Well, he's gonna have to kill something off before you can use that big game hunter. Of course.
Yeah, there's a harvest golem that demands some killing over there.
So he's gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah. So the harvest golem is gonna bite the dust, and the big game hunter is gonna come down. It's so funny. Shaman is one of those matchups where you do, and Paladin now, where you get these full boards, and it's something you never really have to consider in many matchups. Is because I've got too much stuff on board.
Yeah.
And we saw you the freeze mage matchup, a full board frozen. You won. Eldor Peacekeeper, as you mentioned, playing that as a tempo play is something that's a lot more common in the Paladin decks now. Back when Paladins were running things like Humility, Stampeding Kodo, you would save it for a big threat as removal.
I'm actually a little confused because is he running... What is darksub running specifically? Like, he's running 2 Power Maces or just the one?
What?
What about Crackles?
We haven't seen any of those come out yet, so I'm not sure what he has. What does he even have at this point? You know, a lot of lightning bolts are being cut. Things like what damage does he have?
Yeah, a lot of shamans are cutting things that we otherwise would have called
That's
essential.
a horrible bomb as well.
Yeah, not the best, not the worst, but now the Fire Elemental could come out and, well, it's not even gonna even things out. There's still a ton of damage on the board here for RDU.
Now, again, if you're darksub, what's the thought process behind not killing this overhand recruit there? Because you got to be thinking maybe he has a second quartermaster.
You mean killing the big game hunter instead of the
Aldor instead of the recruit with the Fire Elemental? Oh god, there's a Twilight Drake coming down off the Sky Golem.
MVP at 1 health. Okay, this Lotheb is going to prevent any kind of comeback, I believe here.
Yep,
we've already seen 2 Sludge Belchers being played, and that's a lot of damage on the board for the Paladin, which could just threaten lethal on the following turn. And the anti-heal bot securing the health lead, that's going to be very hard to go through. I think it's impossible at this point. Definitive Argus might buy some time, but...
I was just going to say, is there a greater tempo play at this situation than anti-heal bot and Lotheb?
No, there's absolutely nothing. You're preventing any kind of spell usage, and you're back in the game health-wise. You're not threatened by Crackle Burst at the moment. In before Ancestral Skull.
Lorewalker Cho!
Oh, hello, baby.
The Shredder.
What is that going to do right now? Absolutely nothing. But hey, it's a panda, and everybody loves dying next to a panda.
Panda OP.
So is that lethal? There is 13 on the board plus Consecration. That is lethal coming from RDU onto the Shaman's face. So yes,
exact lethal thanks to the Consecrate, as you said. Yeah, it does appear that RDU sees it. So it's going to be 2-0 to RDU in this series.
Hey, look, Shaman gets a Consecration. That would have been drastically useful a few turns ago.
I mean, you know, in the absence of a second Lightning Storm, indeed, that would have been. But that's going to be all for darksub in this opening matchup. So RDU comes out on top with the Paladin deck looking very, very strong.